Hi, John Hay Jaguars. Today, what I want to do is to share some new titles, some books that I just purchased for our library. But most of these are available at the Seattle Public Library on ebook, and so you can also probably get them from other places on ebook and download them or buy your own copies until next year. These are books that I didn't go there, but I was online with the person at the university bookstore who purchases books, and she was sharing some of her favorites. And so these sounded really good, so I bought some of them for our library. And in fact, all of them except for one are realistic fiction about families and families that are changing and challenges of being in a family, which you might have been experiencing lately. So let's get started. The first one is called A Field Guide to Getting Lost by Joy McCullough. And this is about Sutton and Louise. Now, Sutton loves coding and science. She has created a robot and programmed it so she has a project at school where she's trying to get the robot to go through a maze within a minute. And then there's Luis. Luis likes to write. He writes these really thrilling adventure stories, but that's as much as an exciting life as he has, because he spends most of his time indoors. He's allergic to bees, and he's very afraid of dogs, and his mother's pretty protective. What do these two have in common? Their parents are dating. So they're going to have to figure out a way to kind of see, what do they have in common and how can they get along with each other, because they're going to be spending a lot more time with each other. This is A Field Guide to Getting Lost by Joy McCullough. Now, this one I did not see at the Seattle Public Library yet. The List of Things That Will Not Change. This is by Rebecca Stead, and if you recognize that author, she is the one who also wrote When You Reach Me, which is one of my favorite books, and we had it in our library. This one I'm going to read the blurb to you because I like the blurb. It gives you enough of the story to know what's going on without telling you everything that's happening. Sonia and I have a lot in common. Our parents are divorced. Our dads are gay. We both love barbecue potato chips, but she is different from me in at least one way. You can't tell how she's feeling just by looking at her at all. And that's B who is writing. That's from her point of view. When B's dad and his wonderful partner Jessie decide to marry, it looks as if B's biggest wish is coming true. She's finally going to have a sister. They're both 10. They're both in 5th grade, and though they've never met, B knows that she and Sonia will be perfect sisters, just like sisters anywhere, B thinks. But as the wedding day approaches, B makes discoveries that lead her to a possibly disastrous choice. See what I mean? It doesn't tell you everything that's going to happen, but tells you enough. But great author, Rebecca Stead, The List of Things That Will Not Change. And that one is on ebook at the Seattle Public Library. This next one is also by an author that we have books in the library by, and her name is Erin Entrada Kelly. She wrote the Newbery book of Hello Universe, which I know Miss Nakamura has used with some reading groups in her class. It's a really good book if you haven't read that one. This one's called We Dream of Space. And this one is about 3 kids who are in the same family. There's Cash and Fitch and Bird, and they all happen to be in the 7th grade because Cash has failed, or he's repeating 7th grade, and Fitch and Bird are twins. So Cash, who loves basketball but has a newly broken wrist, is in danger of failing 7th grade for the second time. Fitch, who spends every afternoon playing Major Havoc at the arcade and wrestles with an explosive temper he doesn't understand. And then there's Bird, Fitch's 12-year-old twin who wants to be NASA's first female shuttle commander, but feels like she's invisible. This book takes place in 1986, and that is when the Space Challenger shuttle was going to be launched into space. And that is a theme through this whole book. And each of the chapters is told through in alternating perspectives of the 3 kids. Their teacher has given them an assignment as the launch date comes closer and closer, where he's put them into space crews, and they have to create a mission and complete it. And so that is kind of going on while these 3 are wrestling with, how are they managing their own little orbit in their family. We Dream of Space by Erin Estrada Kelly. And that one is on ebook at the public library. Now, these have waiting lists, but maybe they won't take forever. Now, this next one is actually a graphic novel. It's called Stepping Stones. It's by Lucy Kinsley. And you can see it, yes, it is a color graphic novel. And this one is about Jen. Jen is used to not getting what she wants. Jen did not want to leave the city. She did not want to move to a farm with her mom and her mom's new boyfriend, Walter. She did not want to leave her friends and her dad. And she definitely did not want to get 2 new sisters. So maybe that's why it's a play on the word stepping, like stepsisters or something like that. Anyway, interesting situation and environment for the setting for the book is that it is in a rural place on a farm. I actually bought 3 copies of this for the library because I knew it would be popular because it's a graphic novel. And this one is on order at the Seattle Public Library. As of right today, they don't have it yet. Now, the last one is it's not realistic fiction, and it isn't about, well, it is a little bit about families, but not realistic fiction. If you have read The One and Only Ivan and loved it, you will be excited that The One and Only Bob has now been printed. And it is, or published, and it is by Katherine Applegate, same author. Now, Bob was in One and Only Ivan, but he wasn't one of the major characters. But he is. This is a whole book about him. And he has, has a human friend now, Julia, and he has regular meals and belly rubs and a bed to call his own. And most important of all, he still gets to visit his best friends at their new home, Ivan the silverback gorilla and Ruby a young elephant. They live in a nearby sanctuary. But Bob feels like there's just something missing. And that's when a hurricane hits, and Bob sets out on a dangerous journey in search of his long-lost sister with the aid of Ivan and Ruby. So this is The One and Only Bob. Bob's the dog. From, it says it's a sequel to The One and Only Ivan by Katherine Applegate. And this one is an ebook at the library. Now, if you didn't catch some of the titles, instead of having to watch this all over again, I will be linking a written document of the titles and authors for you of these 5 books that you can then refer to. And so I hope that you will find some of these interesting, because I know that in your language arts you should be doing a lot of independent reading, and I'm hoping that you're reading fiction, not just nonfiction, because it is important to read fiction. Fiction helps you with becoming empathetic, with learning how other people feel and putting yourself in other people's places. And that's very, very important skill to have in life. So until next time, bye.